All of the food we eat and much of the clothing we wear comes from plants and animals that are raised on farms. Farms are different in type, in size, and even in name.
Welcome to Barn Talk. What happens at the barn stays in the barn, but not today. We're gonna let it all out for you guys. Today is gonna be a Barn Talk Hot Topics episode. So we're gonna talk about everything going on in the world, a little bit about ag, a little bit about economics, a little bit about everything we want to talk about. But before we get into it, you guys know the drill. If you get any value from the show, please share it out with the people that you know. The more that you guys do that, the more that this show grows, the more episodes we can make, the more guests we can have on. It's kind of the ticket to admission to watch or listen to the show, and we appreciate all you that do that because it does help us out a lot. Another thing you can do to help us out here at Barn Talk is leave a review on Spotify or Apple. You know, there's a hell of a lot of you that follow the show, that subscribe to the channel on YouTube, that listen to the show every week. And we only got 3,000 reviews. So if you get any value at all, just leave a review on Spotify or Apple. It'll take you 5 seconds. We just want to hear what you think about the show. And those reviews give us a lot of credibility to get great guests to come on the show and have great conversations with us. So those really do help us a lot.
I mean, we are incredible, but the world doesn't know that. So we got to get credibility. And the only way we get credibility is by those reviews and ratings. So right now we're
that's
just
what
legends.
That's what you tell yourself in the mirror. Is that you're incredible.
Yeah, Stuart Smalley every day. Damn it, I'm bright enough, I'm smart enough, and people like me.
Those affirmations in the mirror really do make a difference.
It's got me 54 and 3/4 years, so something's working.
Hey, that's what you got to do before you come on Barn Talk. Just gas yourself up.
Yep,
that's what it takes. That's what it takes. But yeah, those are the ways you can help us out, guys. Those are the ways that you can really support the show, help us make a difference, help our impact, help us get better guests. 2026 is going to be a great year. And we still do have people that ask us because they see clips on the show or listen to the show. You guys have another channel? You got another YouTube channel? Yeah, we do. We have another YouTube channel. So if you are watching on YouTube or you're listening to the show and you want to see what we actually do on the farm, you can follow us at This'll Do Farm and see what we're actually doing on the farm. Yep, Dad's got it on his hat there. We actually do shit on the farm from time to time, and we do show it. So if you can't get enough of us and you actually want to see us do something rather than sit and talk, that's where you can see that. So anyway, I had to throw that out there because we still get people that comment, and I think it's funny.
Yeah,
so
it's good stuff.
It is good stuff.
I had a guy yesterday at church that I've known most of my life that Jim Cutaback was on an episode a couple weeks ago, and somebody told Jim that they thought it was a really good episode, and he said to him, he literally said, "Jim, you were on a podcast?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Which one?" He goes, "Barn Talk." And he goes, "What's Barn Talk?" And then everybody awkwardly looked at me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's the podcast that, we do." And he's like, "You guys got a podcast?" I don't know where he's been, but I guess he's been, he came to church to read his Bible. He didn't come to church to learn about podcasts. But anyway, yeah, there's always people out there that I'm surprised that, for whatever reason, they just don't know. They don't know what we do. So
and that's okay.
Yeah,
not
it's all
everybody's
good.
got to know. But you guys know, and that's all that matters.
Yep.
So share it out if you know.
Share it out.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to share today. Today is going to be a day of laughter and learning, and it all starts with the market update. Is there anything that we need to hit before the market update?
No, I don't think so. I think we're doing good. Winter it started off really cold with a lot of snow, but it's tapered off here a little bit. We're gearing up for Christmas. We're shooting this right now, the week of Christmas. And is there any snow in the forecast?
No, none. Ma Whistler is not very happy. She loves a good snowstorm. She loves it cloudy, good snowstorm, with all the Christmas lights on, sitting there with a cup of hot coffee, watching it come down. And her Christmas wish is not going to come true this year because I think it's supposed to be like 50 degrees on Christmas. So she'll have to wait for that. But secretly, I'm not that all upset because we came home from Thanksgiving. We went to Nashville for Thanksgiving, and then it was just like we just got hammered, like snow, and then we got another snow, and felt like all I did was push snow. And
that was a hell of a difference.
Yes,
going
it
from
was.
Tennessee to back to Iowa in the worst of Iowa, like literally within it was 24 hours.
It's kind of like we got a little bit bitch slap there about taking off and leaving.
Yeah.
So
well, now all snow looks like when you become an adult is work.
Yes.
So it's not as fun as when you're a kid or when your mom likes it because of the aesthetic. But
yeah.
I would take snow only once a year, and that is on Christmas. I think it would be nice to always have a snowy Christmas, but it doesn't always work out that way. But we still got a lot of winter to go. January typically seems to be the worst, honestly.
Yeah, February you can get a lot of snow, but it's warm enough it doesn't usually stay. However, I guess you just need to get a snowmobile because our good friend, he's been on the show, Ryan Kelly, Wisconsin Titan, he sent me a picture. I think he put it on Facebook. It was his list of midlife crisis checklist. And he bought that Charger RT. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing on the list was a Skidoo snowmobile. And the only thing left on the list was a 250R four-wheeler from his childhood. And I think he just bought a snowmobile. So he's getting them checked off.
Kicking your ass when it comes to those
I'm not very good. I don't know. It's like I could make a list of stuff that I'd like to have, but then I don't know.
You did get a Jeep, and that sucked. You got rid of that thing. And you got another truck.
Yep.
You like that little truck.
I do like my classic GMC.
So I say you're not doing too bad.
Yeah, I just don't stick with things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're kind of a squirrel.
You're lucky I'm even here today.
I know. I sent you the time and you made it.
Yep. I could have just wandered off and forgotten all about it. But anyway. The markets continue. It is the week of Christmas, but stuff's still happening. And I will give you the nitty gritty. Corn today was up. It started out, it was up 5 cents, but they got whittled down to a penny, and I think that's about where it'll close. $4.45 for March. Locally, best price around $4.19 at the feeders and $4.24 in Cedar Rapids. The basis just kind of sits there in our neck of the woods because you're at that time of year where there's just enough farmers that need money that keep selling that even though we're not really sure what this acreage number does, there's still enough moving that it just kind of keeps that basis right where it's been. But ending stocks, like I said last week, ending stocks is down. I think they're going to come out here in January. I think USDA is going to revise that corn number, that yield down. I think there's a lot more upside for corn than beans. Beans for January, $10.53. November of 26, $10.72. Best price local at the river, $10.14 in Burlington and $11.51 in Quincy. And I don't know. I mean, we're going to plant more beans next year than we did this year because there's a lot of guys that planted corn on corn that probably won't keep planting corn on corn. And I don't know. I can't get very excited about the bean market. But bean meal, $2.98 a ton. Wheat for March, $5.15. February hogs, $85.35, and July of 26 hogs, $103. And I'll give you a tidbit of information. You don't even know this. I talked to a guy today from eastern Indiana. He feeds pigs out there. Him and his neighbor both have quads, so 4,000 head sites. And he has 2, and his neighbor has 2. And the packer, I'm not going to tell you the contractor they feed for, but they're involved in the plant in Coldwater, Michigan, and they're doubling that thing up. And I think currently it kills like 1.2 million pigs a year, and they're doubling it. And I don't know whether they're second shifting it. They're going to start running 2 shifts. And I don't know if that quite gets you double, but pretty close. And they can't get people to build barns. You want to take a guess what they're paying for a contract price to get people to pay to build barns?
45.
$58.
Holy shit. That is insane.
$58 a pig space, but when you think about it, that's about what you'd have to get to make.
And they're where? Where they're based out of?
Too far for us.
Yeah, but no,
Eastern Indiana. So the
So
east
they're
side
in
of
Indiana,
Indiana.
and the Packer is in Michigan.
Yeah, southern Michigan.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, just for reference, I mean, around here it's mostly $42 bucks,
$42.
$44 maybe, 43.
There's some guys. There was some talk earlier
Holy shit.
last year. They thought they were going to have to pay more until a bunch of space became available, and then it kind of throttled that back. So
yeah, they really do want some growers, don't they?
they really do want some
Holy
growers.
shit.
So that just tells you if they can pay that and make it work,
That makes cash flow in those barns a lot better.
there must be a little more money left when you look at those June, July futures than what the integrators are telling you. So sorry to get you all wound up. Cattle for December, 230. January feeder cattle, 346. Crude oil, 58 bucks. So it's come back a little bit, got down to like $55. We're going to talk about that a little bit. The S&P 500, 68.77. Bitcoin is 88,000 and change. Tesla's almost 500 bucks a share. I think it'll get there by Christmas. Gold, $4,466. So if you're a gold bug and you've been buying gold from back in the day when it was $16, $18, $200, $2,000, you got to be feeling pretty good. Even the silver, silver 62 bucks, and I remember when silver was 20 bucks forever, it seemed like. 30-year treasuries 4.8, 10-year treasuries 4.17. And the housing market, new home sales were up last month, and I think that's 2 months in a row. So the problem they got is, and we've talked about this before, is there is a huge amount of housing out there, people who would like to sell and move. However, they have a really, really, really low mortgage interest rate, like a lot of sub 3%. And they don't get very excited when they're going to look and having to pay what it is, even though mortgage rates have come down, but they're still high compared to what is out there. So anyway.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me that it's up because it just seems like it's hard to buy a house right now.
Well, now the caveat to that is that most all of your major markets where you've seen the biggest increase in real estate values. So a lot of Florida, a lot of Texas, Fort Worth, those areas, Nashville, there is a huge number of houses, and it's way up, and I think it's up for the last 4 months. Houses that have been on the market for so many days to the point where they take them off the market. And usually what happens is they take them off the market and then they wait a month and then they put them back on the market. And the reason they do that is, say you listed a house at $800,000 because your neighbor sold their house for $810,000 or whatever, and you figured you'd throw it out there and somebody would snatch it right up and bid what you had it at or even above. Because if you remember, it hasn't been that long ago and people were like overpaying in some of these hot markets. Well, now then that's all cooled. And so then you're not getting offers, but you don't want to go out and drop the price because you drop the price and then people feel like there's blood in the water. So then they start giving you lowball offers. So what a lot of these realtors will have people do is they pull it off the market, they leave it set for a month, and then they'll list it again and they'll list it at a lower price. And then maybe it sells. But you're seeing that in a lot of these hot markets, which tells you the market's not as hot as it was. But real estate prices are still strong in a lot of the big cities that have lagged behind. Pittsburgh, Atlanta, I don't know, other places around the country. Those are still strong. So, and I am not a real estate expert. I just read things. I read things, learn things, and then
I was going to ask you, where'd you hear all that?
I read it in the Wall Street Journal.
Nice.
Yep.
There you go.
Pretty proud of myself.
That's a good thing to read every day. We actually are lucky enough to have a friend that sends Dad and I the Wall Street Journal every day.
Yep.
For us to read.
Yep.
So there's a lot. It's very, there's a lot of info in there.
There is a lot of info in there.
Too much. Can't get through it all, but
nope. I just hit the highlights on the front page on the side, and then if there's anything really thought provoking, I'll I'll get to it at night before I laid my head on the pillow. So,
well, I guess speaking of the economy, let's talk about this statistic that I saw, or this fact that I saw. So there's a rural recession warnings happening from bankers. Surveys show rural bankers are predicting an ag crisis, with 18% of farmers facing negative cash flow in 2026. Though farm profits are forecasted up to 37% to 17. Wait, that doesn't even make sense. Through farm profits are forecast up 37% to $179.8 billion.
that's the total. That's the total income is up 37%.
Yes. Yeah.
But that doesn't see, it's kind of like talking about, it's kind of like when you are a farmer and you like to talk about your equity, because you got all this land. You got this land that might or might not be all paid up, and the value of the land keeps going up, but your cash flow is ass. So the equity doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I can attest to that because my grain farming operation was not profitable this year. It was negative. When you figure all the costs, now granted, the thing that drives my cost of production is the rent I pay, because I pay very high rent because the retirement home bill just keeps going up. So that rate is pretty high, and I know that. But when you look at overall the cost of seed, the cost of chemicals, the cost of equipment, it's all up. And also, you know, when you're planning on selling 450 corn and you look around, and I've got some stuff out on the board that, you know, if March futures get, if we get through this and they cut the yield and corn gets on a little bit of run, I might actually come out and make a little bit more on the board. But I certainly haven't hit my marketing goals as far as price goes on my corn crop. And the prospect for next year is not super great either. And so I totally agree with that. And I just, the other, and we were going to talk about this too, is farmers are going to get squeezed all the way around because the cost of your equipment is higher, but then the resale value of the equipment you have, you're not getting crap for that to trade that in. And then the value of it, obviously it's a depreciating asset, but on your balance sheet, there's a lot of guys that are upside down because they buy equipment, finance the equipment, and then the equipment is depreciating faster than what they can pay for it. And I mean, I know guys that have got, say they got an S660 or an S670, go try to trade that in at the dealership. I mean, they don't want them. And so they're all out here trying to sell them private, and auction results. I think we said that last week, like prices on tractors and combines are down, what, 25% or something like that. I can't remember. But I don't know. How do you all feel? Because,
well, yeah, and we've said it here before too. You know, we've talked to bankers, and the amount of smaller banks around us even that are getting out of ag lending altogether is going up and up more and more. So the consolidation in the lending space that lend to ag is just getting crushed.
Yeah.
And that should worry. I mean, that's the thing that, like, that's the biggest indicator to me. If the banks are getting out of ag lending, and they're more and more of them are getting out of ag lending, that's got to tell you something. They're seeing stuff. And I just talked to a guy that goes to my gym that's a banker here in our local area, and he just said there's some guys that they just can't help. I mean, it's just too far gone. The operating line is just too much to bear. You can't take them on. And he's like, if you would have came to us 2 years ago, would have made a difference. But there's just a lot of guys out there that I don't think, it's just not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. And it's a storm of all the things that you said. This is just one of those times where if you have a lot of debt and you were rolling that operating line and you were rolling equipment and
that's what's going to
taking
bite
advantage of cheap interest, I mean, it's just all kind of flipped on a dime. And it just,
Yeah.
if you're not prepared for that or you're not ready for that, and if you don't have any farming assets and you went and you rented ground that you probably shouldn't have or bought ground that you probably shouldn't have because you wanted it, it's just a hard spot right now.
You hit the nail on the head. When you say we turned on a dime, I mean, it might not be a dime, but it might be a $50. We went through a time where there was zero incentive to run without debt because you're basically paying nothing for the money. So there was no incentive to pay anything off. You just roll it and roll it and roll it. And then when it started to change, guys were reluctant to do that. And so what happened was there was a lot of operating loan expenses that got rolled every year. They rolled, and the line of credit got extended and expanded and extended and expanded. And then you get to a point where you have to take that money and you have to amateurize it against the land. Well, now you're the point where guys have done that, and we're looking at operating costs that you can't make your operation cash flow. And then you get wedged to where you really can't refinance it because you can't make it cash flow even by rolling all that debt. And then you get into trouble. And that's how land sales start happening. And I mean, it's going to be hard to tell because there is an awful lot of land that is moving, and it's only going to accelerate because the average age of the people that own the land is old, and they're getting older. And so there's just a certain amount of land that's going to sell no matter what. But now then you're going to start seeing some of this land move because it has to, not because, it's going to have to from an economic standpoint rather than from a generational standpoint.
Oh man, we've heard so many stories. There's guys buying ground now for just insane numbers. And it's not because they're going to make any money on it. It's just because they know that if they don't buy it, there's never going to be another opportunity to do it.
Right.
Which you can't blame them, but it's like, good God. Like, if that seems to be happening more and more. So I just think land is just, everybody always asks, is land value going to go down? I don't foresee it going down.
No, because then the other thing you have is commercial. We talked about residential real estate, but commercial real estate is trash. Well, I can use a better phrase than it's trash. It's not good, and I don't think it's going to be good for a considerable amount of time because the need for office space is going to keep dropping because the efficiency that we're gleaming from technology means we need less people working. And so commercial real estate is not going to be needed as much. And so the value is trash. So you see people moving out of commercial real estate into farmland. And
I say the only thing people are going to use like commercial for is if you can turn it. Like I've seen people talking about turning it into storage units.
Yep.
Stuff like that. There's going to be value there if you can turn it into something to get value. But to use it as a commercial space, that's just going to get less and less.
Look at that business. So there's a business there that, has seemed to be bulletproof storage units because we as Americans run on consumerism and we buy too much shit. No matter what size house we have, we end up owning too much stuff. So we go and we rent a storage unit. However, what happens when everybody's costs go up, especially the consumer, to where the consumer quits buying? How many storage units does the world need?
If the world turns into the movie Ready Player One, if any of you have ever seen that movie, it's literally about what happens if the world introduces AI and virtual reality and we all just do nothing and live off universal basic income. I think storage will still be around.
Well, if all else fails.
Because what else are you going to do? All you're going to do is consume, and all you're going to do is create shit, and you're not going to have a job. So, yeah, you're going to have storage unit because you're going to buy so much shit that you're going to have to store it.
So you'd still be a buyer/builder of storage units?
I think so. Because it is. I think people are never going to stop buying shit. I mean, yeah, there might be some dips in the in the economy where you have less people renting your storage units. But long term, I feel like people are not going to go away from their tendencies, especially if this stays around, your phone and Amazon. And I mean, it's never been easier to buy shit.
Yep.
It's never,
you may
it's
be
never,
right.
It's never been easier. It's only going to get easier to buy shit because it's just going to be, it's everywhere. Advertisements are everywhere and they continue to be. And as things evolve, you're going to have advertisements in your Meta glasses.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be, that you're always going to be incentivized to buy shit. And something I thought about the land prices, like, do you think people are just like, do you ever think it's going to go down in value? Because I don't. And the reason I don't is just because I think people are just smarter now. Like, people underestimate how
much the consumers learned,
how
or the investor has learned.
Everybody's learned. Yeah. Yes. I think everybody underestimates how much free game there is and how much smarter people are when it comes to investing, building a business, creating a portfolio for themselves, understanding the value of land. It's just a different game.
Yep.
Like, I think probably back in the day, I mean, most people looked at land as that's just what farmers do.
Yep.
That's what farmers use the land. Like, it's only for farmers, really. But it's the game's kind of changed now where not everybody looks at it as, that's just for the farmers.
Right.
No, I can buy that and rent it to a farmer. When it comes to land, I just feel like it's different times. And maybe somebody can tell me I'm wrong and give me a reason why they might think that land prices will go down. I just don't feel like they're gonna.
I think the only way they go down is we have a crash across the entire country where literally nobody's got the money. And barring that, I think land values will stay up pretty well. Now, how much, talking about the profitability, you just heard me whining about cost of production and all that. How much do you think these federal handout money that everybody's getting? So $12 billion. But I saw somewhere that when it's all said and done with all the
billion or million?
12 billion. Yeah, 12 billion.
Yeah, it wouldn't be million.
And somewhere I saw that they think that when it's all said and done by the end of 2026, the government will have spent closer to $40 billion on farm subsidies, which would be a record. But it comes out to be, for row crop guys, it comes out to be somewhere between 25 and 35 bucks an acre. So does that get your cost of production back to where you're in the black? And what's going to happen to that money? You think it's going to pay off debt?
Nope.
Think it'll pay operating interest?
Yep. Maybe a little bit.
Think John Deere's sharpening their knives?
Yep. I think every input commodity and equipment company is understanding what's coming and they're going to adjust accordingly.
Yep. I agree.
I think that's what people, we've said it a million times on the show. Bailouts really don't stick around for the farmer all too much because we're not the ones in DC lobbying for a bailout. Most likely it's the input conglomerates that are asking, or the lenders that are in trouble that know. They look at the balance sheet and so they're looking at the farmers that they have, and they're saying, if we don't get bailout money, our bank's gonna fall.
Our bottom line's gonna get hit.
Yeah. I don't know. So it's sad. It is what it is. It's coming, but I don't think farmers were the ones really asking for it.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Anyway,
well, once again, I think it all gets back to, we're going to all have to figure out how to spin ourselves out of this cycle of the commodity business, because there's room for a few people in that are very good operators with very shrewd balance sheets that are low-cost producer. There's always room for the low-cost producer. But as to how low that cost has to be, I don't know. I don't know if everybody can get there or not. So the rest of us are going to have to figure out how to survive.
Yeah, kind of switching gears a little bit, but kind of talking about farmland. So the Ag Secretary Rollins, or is it Rollins? Rollins halted taxpayer subsidies for solar panels on high-quality ag land, citing massive losses. Tennessee's down 1.2 million acres in 30 years because of Maybe not all because of solar, but they're just down 1.2 million acres in 30 years. This counters the solar's predictable income pitch, but fuels the debate on how much farmland can we afford to lose.
Yeah.
Which I've been saying this in the car and at dinner. You know, all these new and it's solar,
Urban sprawl.
It's urban sprawl, it's windmills, it's solar, it's all of it. I'm just glad that we're kind of thinking here, because I've always had this thought. Is there going to become a point in time where we just build and build and build and build and build and build, and nobody's keeping track of how much farmland's getting ate up, and then we get to a point where we go, oh, fuck. Well, shit, we overbuilt, and now we can't produce enough food, and we're going to hurt our economy because we overbuilt our urban sprawl here, and overbuilt solar farms, and overbuilt, have windmills everywhere and all this shit. Because let's be honest, is the government really I hope and pray that they're keeping track of that. Mm-hmm. But are they? I don't know. But this gave me a little hope that maybe somebody's looking at that and going, hey, we got to slow this shit down.
Yeah.
Because I could just see that happening so easily. We overbuild, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, shit.
Well, I think this goes back to the conversation that we had where we all assume that somewhere there's a bunch of really smart people that are, figuring this out. But I don't think that's true. I think the market has just kind of let it run wild. And, for years, if a developer wants to buy a chunk of ground on the north side of town or on the south side of town or whatever it is, and that piece of ground, nobody sells it, and then finally that farmer passes away, the family gets it, whatever, and it goes to auction, usually the one that has the money to buy it is the developer. In other words, they'll get the last bid, and then that piece of ground is turned into housing. And that cycle has gone on for years and years and years and years. And, where we live in southeast Iowa, you can see it where we're a little bit south of a good-sized city, and from that city to the next city to the next city used to be a pretty good gap between them, where now it's pretty much urban sprawl all the way from one to the next. And that's mostly all farmland that's coming out of,
and it's going to keep
production.
Coming. It's going to keep coming south. It just keeps it keeps moving.
But then you throw on, I've got neighbors just a mile south of me that are on a flat piece of ground running east and west county highway, and there's two different solar groups that I think have already signed up a big chunk of ground for solar farms. And I mean, that's prime. That's not like, that's all high CSR, good black dirt, high production. And if it goes through, which I don't know if it's going to go through or not, I don't know the particulars on it, but that'll all be out of production because you're not going to farm under it. I guess you could run goats under it, but other than that, it's going. And so, and we can sit there and look, we're overproducing soybeans. We're overproducing corn. We may be overproducing wheat, although I feel like the wheat business, corn and soybeans have taken huge acres from that. But anyway, so I guess for the short run, we can say we obviously don't need that land because we're overproducing. But at what point does the world switch where we're not due to weather or due to whatever? And then is there an oh shit moment coming?
I think they're only, and I don't know how long it will be. It could be decades. It could be a century from now. Who knows? But it's not gonna pause on its own.
Right.
There's gonna have to be a no shit moment, because you explained that whole process of the developer coming in, buying the ground. That's all done without really
any
thought, and the government's not involved in that really for the most part. So until they realize it, they're not going to stop that from happening,
right?
And they. I mean, I'm all for capitalism and going and getting yours. I'm just saying, we see it. I see it. And it's a concern of mine because I see the development just continually moving south and south and south and south and south. And I just sometimes think, I'm like, are we just going to keep letting capitalism drive this thing to the point where we're going to reach this moment where people are going to be like, we should probably just stop right here. This is where we got to stop going south. Yeah. But will it? I don't
That's
think it will.
what you call, when there's nothing stopping anybody from doing it and the economics work, the only regulation is BIC, because I can. Which, by the way, that's one of the greatest farm corp names there is. There's a guy that was a customer of mine. His farm corp was BIC Incorporated, because I can. I like that.
So what do you think of solar farms altogether?
Well, I think it'd be great. I think it'd be great if they put them where they actually needed them. And the other thing is, you really need to think hard about, here in the Midwest, you're not getting the maximum use out of them because I have them on my hog buildings. I didn't put them on the land. I put them on the hog buildings. And like when you get snow and it sticks around and you've got a lot more clouds in the winter, you don't get the production that you would if those panels were, say, in the South. So California, great place for solar panels. Arizona, Texas, great place for solar panels. The Northeast, far northern United States, Canada, probably not a great place for solar panels. And I think I've given you this statistic, but do you know that Germany as a country has the same amount, roughly the same amount of installed solar capacity as the state of California? However, their production is like less than half, and it may be even less than that. And the reason is because Germany is a horrible fucking place to put solar panels, because if you've ever been to Germany, it's not sunny very often. It's cloudy most of the time. They get a lot of snow. And that whole green movement over there, it hasn't worked very well for them when it comes to solar because they don't have the right environment for it. Well, so here people want to build solar. They want to build it in the Midwest where they don't have to pay very much for the land. They don't have to worry about tearing down sheds. They don't have to worry about getting easements from 80 different people to put them on the rooftops. There's all the reasons why they want to do it here, but I'm not sure it's the best. One, I'm not sure if it's the best use of our land. And two, I don't know if it's the best return on that solar. And it's like the windmills. If you took the incentive away, I think the wind turbines are terrible. They don't work. I won't say they don't work. They make power, but the amount of incentives that go into making them work and then to deal with them afterwards, I guess that's one good thing about the solar. If the solar company goes bankrupt, there's not footings 10 feet in the ground that you have to get rid of to yank them out of there. But you can bet your ass it'll be at the farmer's cost, because the corporation that owns the solar panels is going to own those panels through another corporation and probably own through another corporation, to where if the one that's actually making the money goes bankrupt, there ain't going to be any money there to tear them out. So I don't know. I like solar. I think it's great. I think if you have a house or a hog building and you want to put solar on it and you want to buy, I would love to be able to do the power walls, because I don't think most utilities are pretty much screwing you on what they're paying you if you overproduce. There's very little incentive to overproduce anymore. But if you have the batteries and you can make that work to where you literally don't really need the utility company, you overproduce during the day, charge the batteries, at night you use the power from the batteries. I think that's very viable if you want to go down that road. But as far as these solar farms go, not sure if it's the best use or in the best place. And ultimately, the farmer is probably going to be the one that gets screwed if it doesn't work. That's about how it goes usually.
Yeah. It's kind of another, like the whole Germany thing is exactly what we were talking about before about urban sprawl. Like, I'm sure that the green movement pushed that narrative, and the solar companies over there were pushing that narrative that this is what we got to do because we're trying to save the planet.
Yep.
And then now it's like, why the fuck do we do all that?
Well, they thought that they were going to get super cheap natural gas from Russia forever. They thought everybody was going to play nice. The Cold War was over, and we didn't need nuclear. We didn't need coal. We could get cheap. And the other thing about the Europeans that really pisses me off is they are the kings of they will take the dirtiest processes that they have to do in their countries, and they'll pay somebody in South America or Africa or China to do that for them, so that whatever that isn't on their books, but then, they'll use the product for their manufacturing and whatever. Europe they're a bunch of hypocrites as far as I'm concerned, and Germany might be the worst, but the Russian-Ukraine thing really screwed them, because they really thought, all of Europe thought that they were going to get dirt cheap natural gas that was going to power their economic engine for the foreseeable future, and then it hit the skids, and now then
shit's fucked, Rick.
Between that and their slightly ridiculous immigration policy, which is screwing them too, I don't see Europe being... the future of Europe is trash. And that's before you get into one of my favorite subjects, which is their demographics, and they're pretty shitty too. So,
wow, you're really hitting it off with the Europeans today.
It's just
today.
A big rainbow of sunshine.
Really hitting it off with the Europeans today.
Yep.
Luckily, I don't think that they're a top 5. There was no top 5 countries coming from Europe.
We get a few.
Listen, Canada's number 2. Shout out to the Canadians. America was number 1. Canada was number 2. Can't remember what all. There was 5. There was
New
5
Zealand,
total.
Australia.
Yeah, I think Australia was 1. Yep.
Well, there's a few Swedes. There's
Yeah.
a few Swedes
Yeah.
that listen.
Yeah. So I think you're in the clear, but
Yeah. Well, they all know they're screwed. I mean, they don't need us to tell them.
yeah.
What else
Yeah.
do you got there? I could look at my paper.
What
but you're
about
just-
what about oil prices? What about
Hey,
what
I
about
think,
the Saudis and
I
the
think
American
that's-
oil?
I think that's pretty interesting, and I really hadn't even thought about this. And I was watching there again. I was consuming too much social media, but there's a guy that I follow on TikTok that has some pretty thought-provoking stuff, and he was talking about how the cost of American oil, the fracking business, with their costs have gone up just like the American farmer. And if you get crude oil down below $55, especially if you get to $50,
I thought it says here 60.
yeah,
Below $60.
yeah. I mean, below $60, they're not making much money. But you get it down to where it was $55, I think, the end of last week, and today it was up to like 58. But they're not making much. It's pretty tight, and OPEC has increased their production. And I think at the end of the day, what they're really trying to do is, I think they could live quite a while on $50 oil. And they'd like to throw the American fracking business kind of hit the skids, because they really want the United States to be dependent on them. And we're not right now. And so if oil prices stay at that rate, it's really going to throttle back a lot of development and a lot of improvement in, they just don't spend money because they're not making money. And I also think that that's probably part of the reason why the Trump administration is going after Venezuela. I mean, it's hard to know. It changes every day. But the drug thing, yes, but now then they're going after and capturing these tankers that are basically taking oil and selling it at discount prices to Cuba. So they're pissing off the Cubans, but they're cutting back oil out of Venezuela, and Venezuela is part of OPEC. And I don't know how much that plays into maybe trying to offset the Saudis overproducing. But I also read a really interesting article that, the only American oil company, well, really the only company that has stayed heavily invested in Venezuela through all of the turmoil is Chevron. Chevron owns the biggest part of the public side of the oil business in Venezuela. And in fact, in 2018, 2 of their vice presidents were kidnapped by the Venezuelan government and held for ransom for 2 months. And Chevron's still there. And I think the reason they're there and the reason they're sticking with it is because I think that at the end of the day, they believe that the Trump administration is going to get that government overthrown and Maduro out of there. And when it's all said and done, I think Chevron thinks they're going to get a big chunk of that oil business, and that'll be money to the United States. And that's why, I mean, the whole oil business is about money and it's about control. And the Saudis have lost a lot of control as the American oil business has boomed. And I think that I don't know how, I can't remember how much our production has increased over the years, but it's pretty amazing. The fracking deal has been a game changer. And so now they're not they can't turn the screws on us like they could. And that really pisses them off. And I think that's why oil prices are getting pushed down, because they keep producing more.
They're overproducing because they want to get us out, get us back to where we were.
They want to get it to where they hurt our industry so that they can cut our production and have us be dependent upon them. That's what I believe. And I don't even need my tin hat on that. You can tell that just by the money and who owns what and cost of production and all that stuff. So follow the money. It's like everything.
Yeah,
follow the money.
That's the simple truth to a lot of things.
And the one thing you need to know is when you're following the money, rarely, very rarely, does it come to my pocket. It's going somewhere.
I've yet to see it.
I know.
Doesn't ever come to my pocket.
It does not flow through Southeast Iowa.
No, doesn't come in the barn.
Damn it.
We could have a pretty kick-ass setup if it ever did. Let's talk about the Epstein files a little bit. Did you see any of that?
I just saw a lot of pictures of Bill Clinton.
I know. Yeah, I know.
And
Me too.
I'm sure that Hillary and Bill are past the age of sleeping in the same room.
They're long gone from that.
They might not even sleep in the same house.
I bet not.
And I don't even know. Hillary may be playing for the other team. I don't know what any of that is. But if they were in the same house, if I was Bill, I would limit the number of pillows around me while I slept, because I think she might try to take him out.
Oh, I think she's at the point of acceptance. They're just stayed married because of the optics at this point. I mean, talk about a guy that's had more scandals than, especially, you want to talk about a guy that's let lust control his life?
Oh, yeah.
That's a guy right there that's let lust control his life. Yeah. They came out, but people are still a little pissed because I think we've talked about it a couple times on the show already. You know, I don't think that was the the files. No. Some of them are completely blacked out and you can't see. They won't even let you have access to them. They just let you see what they wanted you to see. Yeah. I think at the end of the day is kind of what people are pissed about. But yeah, I mean, Bill Clinton was on there a shitload. There was obviously minors. Their faces were blacked out in the photos. Not all the photos, but in the photos on the island. And it's just crazy. I mean, it's a legit thing. I think for a long time, American people have been screaming from the rooftops, like, we want to see the evidence. And now that it's kind of, some of it's came out, it's just insane. Like the whole story, everything involved, Jeffrey Epstein, it's just the lore of it is just like crazy to think that that was going on. And it probably still goes on. There's probably somebody else that's replaced Jeffrey Epstein, but just tells you how fucked up Hollywood is and how fucked up our politicians are.
And I don't care. I don't care what any of those people tell you when they say that, you know, they had no idea what was going on. They're lying to you. They're lying to you. You can't tell me, you cannot tell me that all these actors and all these politicians and all these people got on a plane, flew to that guy's house, and at some point in there didn't go, there's some shit going on here.
They knew. They all knew.
I mean, it's crazy.
They all knew.
Yep.
They all knew what they're, especially Bill. I mean, fucking Bill is in most of the photos. And I remember when the flight logs came out, I mean, he was on there like the most out of anybody. Yeah. He for sure knew.
Yeah.
And then he just denies it. I mean, if there's one guy that's definitely a part of it, he was definitely a part of it. I mean, let's be honest. But it's just fucked up. The whole thing's fucked up. I wish they would come out with all the evidence, but we probably won't get all the evidence. They just gave us enough for the American people to shut up for a little bit. But really, 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 really screwed up. And Bill Clinton wouldn't expect anything less.
And Trumpy, you know, there was some photo. There was a photo that originally wasn't released of Trump with Epstein, not on the island, but just with him. And it wasn't released. And then it was released. And then people made a big deal about it. And I you know, somebody will comment on here about, well, you know, Trump is in it. I honestly don't know. I mean, the more it comes out, the less that you see anything that he's really.
My only argument is if he was involved, and I don't give a. If he is, he's fucked up too. They're all fucked up. I don't give a shit. Right, left, whatever. They're all fucked up. But if he was involved in that, don't you think they would have used that against him when they didn't want him to run?
Yeah.
I mean, they were throwing everything they were throwing the whole kitchen sink at him.
Yeah.
They almost killed the fucker.
Well,
they all tried to kill him. I mean, they tried to assassinate him. I mean, if they really didn't want him to win, if they had the ammo of him being involved with Epstein and there was great photo evidence of that, they would have for sure used that so that he could not have become president again. So that would be my only argument is why wouldn't they have used it if they knew it? If they have the ammo, use it.
Well, I think what it all comes down to at the end is both parties in this country have far too many people that are involved in this. It's kind of like back when I was a kid and the idea that the Russians weren't going to blow up the United States with nukes because the United States was going to blow Russia up with nukes. It was mutual assured destruction. I think that's literally what you got. I think there's so much dirt in there that would absolutely trash probably both political parties that they jab each other with it, but you're never going to know the whole truth.
It's not even just political. It's wealthy. I mean, it's Bill Gates he saw him on there a couple times. Kevin Spacey, he's already been exposed, but he was in the photos. Tucker, what's that guy? Chris Tucker was in some of the photos. What was the other one? Mick Jagger. Yeah. He was in some of the photos. Yeah. So screwed up deal, no doubt.
Lay it on me.
What else? I mean, you talked about farm equipment a little bit, as far as it's definitely not in a good spot. It's depreciating really fast.
Oh, I want to. So, did you see the Jake Paul fight?
I didn't see it, but I saw the highlights of it. Yeah, he got his ass knocked out finally.
The consensus I've seen a lot of people say that they think that was the fight that a lot of people finally woke up and said, why am I spending $100 on pay-per-view to watch this guy fight? Because you knew it was going to happen.
Well, I'm actually glad it happened because I don't know if he rigs his fights or he doesn't. I mean, there's people speculate if he's been rigging fights.
Yeah.
And he has never really fought a true boxer.
Right.
Or hasn't most of the fights that he's fought.
Yep.
He might have fought a boxer before this guy. I can't remember. I can't keep track of all of his opponents. Yep. But this guy actually knocked his ass out. So then I'm like, okay, well, maybe he doesn't fix it. Maybe he doesn't rig his fights. I don't know. Yeah. Because the paydays are massive.
Yeah.
They're massive for both people involved. And I think it's probably pretty easy for Jake Paul to incentivize a former fighter.
Like the Tyson deal.
Yeah, right.
The Tyson deal, you could totally see that was That was painful to watch.
I'm sure it was for you.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy that at all.
Nobody did. Nobody did. Everybody wanted Tyson to whoop his ass. And Tyson, man, that was pure marketing because Tyson was marketing it up. He looked like he was in great shape for his age. But yeah, I'm happy he got his ass knocked out because it seemed to me, okay, this seemed to be a real fight. But I will give him credit. I think Jake Paul is not as bad of a fighter as what people probably say he is. I think you got to give the kid credit. He's one of the greatest. He's one of the best marketers in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, those kids came from like the suburbs of Indiana.
Yep.
Both Logan and Jake Paul. And they have turned themselves into, love them or hate them, some of the best marketers in the world.
Yeah.
And changed their lives and became professional wrestler and became a professional boxer. I mean, that's pretty insane. So
well, and you know what? At the end of the day, most of the people, I mean, I couldn't run around the ring against that guy. So one thing that was kind of interesting to me, do you know the ring was oversized?
Was it?
It wasn't a standard size ring. It was bigger because he wanted more room to be able to try to run around. But taking nothing away from him, it's like everything. The majority of people wouldn't last one round with that guy.
No, fuck no.
And you're right. I mean, for what they've done and what they've accomplished, you got to give them credit. I just think that.
And I'll say this. Jake Paul has kind of saved boxing in some way. I mean, boxing has been a dying sport. UFC's taken over the fight game.
Yeah.
Boxing has fallen off a little bit. I mean, it had its day with Tyson and Holyfield and all that.
Yep.
But since then,
yep.
I mean, you had Floyd Mayweather.
Yep.
You have Manny Pacquiao. But that's like the only two figures you really can think of in the boxing game. Jake Paul is like turning the boxing game to be more popular again.
Yeah.
So got to give him credit on that too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it lasts. I think, though, do you think he'll do more? Do you think he'll do more?
I think he loves it. I think he makes damn good money doing it. And I think he prides himself on saving the boxing game.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is for him. I think he understands that the sport needs saving and he can market it better than anybody. And yeah, I mean, his ego's probably out his ass. I mean,
drinking the Kool-Aid.
He drinks the Kool-Aid. He loves it. So,
yep.
Well, and another thing, Andrew Tate got his ass kicked. I was surprised by that. I know he's a world champion kickboxer, but I didn't know he was 40 years old either. But this 25-year-old influencer kicked his ass in a boxing match.
I didn't see that.
That was kind of. I don't think nobody really expected that, but yeah, he got his ass beat.
Well, age. You can't run away from age.
It kind of was just like, well, Andrew, you talk yourself up to be this alpha male, fucking kick anybody's ass, and I'm sure he could kick most people's ass. I mean, I think his kickboxing championships are legit.
Yeah.
But boxing and kickboxing's different, I guess. So yeah, I was surprised to see that. But two really good marketers got their ass kicked.
Yep.
Let's just say that. So
well, Sawyer actually made me feel a little guilty about this, so I'm gonna go light on this. But many of you know that a byproduct of my love for the Tesla Corporation is my disdain for General Motors, specifically their CEO, Mary Barra, who I might add is 64 years old, and she is going to retire. She didn't say when, but it's coming, and GM is searching feverishly for her replacement. And one of the guys is kind of like a dark horse for that is the guy that was ahead of their like robotics division. And so GM is trying to decide whether they're a cutting edge tech company or whether they're sticking with the whole car thing. Hopefully they'll make a good gas engine because that 6.2, that thing's trash. But I don't know why. I don't know. I love GM. Like a GM pickup is kind of like comfortable to me because I had them for so long. But they've had a few missteps. But old Mary, she's going to finally hang her up. And that wasn't too bad, was it?
No.
Yeah. I'll call her up.
You gotta kind of give people context. You don't hate GM, you don't hate Chevron, you don't hate the trucks. You're more talking about how they've gone about her execution of the business model of GM as far as where they're taking the company and her reasoning and getting into the electric vehicle market. She's done a piss poor job of getting into it and trying to make a future for GM.
Yeah. And
that's kind of where you're coming from.
What put her on my radar more than anything else was, you got to remember that Joe Biden went to a GM EV plant, and he professed that Mary Barra had single-handedly built or saved, I can't remember if it was built or saved or both, the electric vehicle business in the United States. And that just, I laughed out loud, because that was when the Biden administration was very much anti Elon Musk, anti Tesla, which makes sense, looking back, makes sense. But to say that what GM was doing was like, that was the cutting edge stuff that was going to build the EV market in the United States was complete propaganda, 100%. And GM, for her to go along with that, and if you roll the tape, and I should put this out sometime, if you take all of the production milestones that she professed that were going to happen and what GM was going to make, none of it ever happened. None of it ever happened anywhere near to the scale that she professed it was going to. So I had a real burr on my tail about it. But anyway, the ship's kind of sailed. The dust is kind of settled. Everybody sees, what they actually can do versus what they said they can do. And they're supposed to be bringing out an EV version of the Silverado, but I'm not really sure what kind of scale they're going to have for production. But I can tell you that at Ford, the F-150 Lightning, and I got a good friend of mine that has one, nice truck, but was never profitable. They could never get it to profitability. Ford announced that they're shutting that down, that they may continue it under a different, they may come back with a different EV pickup, but the F-150 Lightning is done. I don't think it's continuing in 26. And that program has lost them $19.5 billion. So I think that if I was a Tesla, if I was somebody at Tesla, I would feel a little bit vindicated, because all of the trash talking that has been done almost since the beginning of this company was going to be the Tesla slayer, and Tesla's screwed because the competition's coming. I've read those stories so many times. The competition's coming. Really, at the end of the day, the only real competitor out there to Tesla in the domestic United States market, and they're not profitable, but I think they actually have a chance because they've got a niche that's enough different than anything that Tesla's doing that I think they could be profitable, and that's Rivian. I think Rivian could become profitable, and there's a lot of people betting on it, but both GM and Ford,
they just need to stick to what they're good at.
Yeah, and I think Ford, I'll say this.
But the problem is it enough to sustain their company? To just do what they've always been doing?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question, and I don't know. But I will say this, quite a while ago, like probably a year ago, we talked about trucks on here and, what would you buy and would you buy one and all that. I think Ford has really listened to the consumer, because right now, the best deal in America on a 3/4 ton pickup is a Ford F-250. You can buy a Ford F-250 with that 7.3 gasoline engine. It's the biggest pushrod V8 out there. No frills, no fancy stuff on it. It's an XL. It's like cloth seats, but I think it has power, everything on it. snowplow prep, camper special, got block heater, got the big battery, crew cab. I think you can buy that truck for like $60,000. And it does not have all the junk in it that's going to break, and they're marketing it pretty aggressively. And I think it's probably the best value out there for like a farm truck or construction or whatever. So I feel like Ford is really listening. GM, I don't know. I don't know what the equivalent they have. And
ever
Dodge,
since COVID, I've been scared to buy a new truck because I've just heard horror stories from my friends that have bought new pickups after 2020, and they're just fucking terrible.
Yeah, the problems, the
Holy
electronics.
shit.
Yeah.
I mean, trucks shutting down after 50,000 miles. Engine's going to fucking blow up. It's like, good God.
Or blowing up right out of the lot.
It's like I got a 2013 GMC Sierra, and I'm like, it's been good. I don't know if I want to mess around with something new and then have to deal with all the bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they got it figured out. But you're kind of telling me that they do.
Well, I've seen a lot of good reviews on it, and the thing is, so the diesels, the problem with diesels has been all the emission stuff, and there was a lot of hope that the EPA was going to roll back a lot of these emissions standards for pickups. And I saw something about that just the other day, but I don't know if we're like getting anywhere, or if it's just talk. But, that's why you see a lot of guys that are going back to gas engine, or else they're deleting them if you can do that. But yeah, I mean, that 7.3, it's just a big old gas engine, 16 miles a gallon, not a lot of crap to go wrong with it. So I think it's a pretty good value. I mean, $60,000 still a lot for a farm truck, but when you consider to what we were seeing on some of these, these king ranches and these high countries and all that, I mean, still pretty good value.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I might have to get a new one sometime.
You think you're going to get anything for Christmas this year?
Hopefully more than coal.
Yep, hopefully.
Hopefully more than coal. Yeah, I'll probably get something for Christmas this year.
Yep.
What do you think you're going to get?
You have a good
something?
mother, so I think you probably will.
I do. I do have.
Don't count on
I got
me.
a damn good mom. She's fucking awesome. So yeah, I probably do have something more than coal. I guess I wanted to just leave you guys with something. This will probably be our last podcast till after the new year. By the way, Dad, if you're not watching, Dad kind of looks like Slim Shady right now with the white This'll Do farm hat on.
Yep. I did a one-off.
He had the black one on, and he put the white one on before we sat down, and he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think you look like Eminem."
I was feeling pretty.
You want to spit some bars?
Yep, absolutely. You think that'll drive up
engagement? No,
probably not.
No,
I won't do that.
It'll probably go down. But I wanted to leave you guys with something because, like I said, we won't have an episode till next year. But man, this year has arguably been one of the toughest years of my life, and I say that to say that if you are somebody that had a tough year too, know that you're not alone. And I think it's very easy to look at people, watch people, listen to people on the internet and think, oh, they got everything figured out. Like, I don't know if there's people that watch or listen to the show or watch or listen to our farm channel and see what we got going on and just think, oh, it's all sunshine and rainbows. I can tell you right now, it's not. And, a aspect of this, of building this platform that is just kind of, I think both of us, it's unexpected, but kind of part of the job is, people will come up to us and love the show and they might want to get a picture with us. And I've said before that it makes me feel weird, and not because I'm like ungrateful for that. I almost just feel unworthy of it because at the end of the day, Dad and I, like, we're just regular dudes. Like, we are just regular guys, and I don't feel anything other than that, Mm-hmm. I don't feel anything other than just a farmer we just had the idea to sit down and shoot this podcast, and it's been one of the best experiences of our entire lives, is being able to do this every week and have some incredible guests come to the show. But just know, like, shit happens on our end too. And there's a lot of shit that happened in my personal life, with my health, with my career, that I've had to battle. And just know that, like, if you had some shit going on this year that you had to go through, just know you're not alone. And on the other side of content of people you follow or people you admire or look up to, they got their shit too. They got their shit too. And we all have shit that we have to go through. But all that to say, it's going to be a new year. It's going to be a new year in less than a week or a week? A week. And that means there's going to be a lot of opportunity. And, you know, something that's helped me get through is honestly just trusting in God's plan, because that's really all you can do sometimes, is just take it one day at a time and trust in God's plan and understand that, you know, He's got you, and all the things that are happening to you are happening for a reason. And I still am very optimistic for the future for this country, for the people that live in this country, for people that are go-getters. I still believe wholeheartedly that there's never been more opportunity than there is right now to go get what you want in this life. There is a lot of doom and gloom right now with just the economy and our politicians and technology moving at a rate that we've never seen before. But on the other side of that, is just unlimited opportunity, an unlimited opportunity to learn, to meet people, to connect with people, to go after any idea that you have, to go after it and make something of yourself. There's never been more opportunity, ever. I mean, this podcast was born out of an idea and just sheer will. I didn't go to school for this. You didn't go to school for this. We didn't have any idea what the fuck we were doing, but we made it happen.
I was born for this.
Yeah, well, Tork and bullshit, that's for sure. You all know that. You can talk the talk. But all I'm trying to say is 2026 is going to be a good year for all of us. And it does you no good to be down in the dumps all the time. Shit happens, but God's got your back. There's never been more opportunity. And if two fucking piss poor hog farmers from Southeast Iowa can go after what they want and create a platform or go after something that they want and make it into something, you can too. You can too.
Yes.
You can make 2026 the best year of your life. And that's what I'm going to try to do. And that's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. And just Merry Christmas.
Well, gosh dang, that was really good.
Oh, thanks.
That was like so motivational that I almost thought about not drinking because of it. But you know, all this doom and gloom will drive someone to drinking. And I wanted to say, you're 100% right. And the good Lord has blessed us this year. It has been challenging. And I think the other thing that people don't understand is as you grow in your business, and as this podcast has grown, the opportunities have been amazing, but then the problems that come along, and then also the not so great part of it is the people that just come to you like flies to a bug light, you know, they want to get a little piece, you know, they want to promote whatever it is that they're doing. And there's some really great people out there, and we've met a lot of great people. And then there's some that are not so great. And, you know, just having discernment. I mean, that's one of the things that I pray for as much as anything is just discernment to know like what is the right path to go. And so, yeah, we're thankful for all of you, and it's been a great year, and we've learned a lot, and next year is going to be fantastic. And I think you're all going to see some of the fruits of our labors next year, just in the way things work and the quality of stuff that we're going to be able to do and the people that you're going to be able to meet through this platform is going to be awesome.
Yeah, next year shit's going to get ramped up. I think the proof of the platform that you guys have allowed us to build, we're forever grateful for it, but we want to go all in on it. We want to make this podcast bigger than we ever even dreamed of. So we're going all in, and we're going balls to the wall next year in 2026 to make that happen. And we just can't wait to make this thing better, to make this barn better, to make everything that we do associated with Barn Talk better for you guys. And yeah, I just got to say, 2026 is going to be a great year for Barn Talk. So we appreciate the hell out of you guys for, I mean, truly. We had steakhouses must be our place, because when we've gone to Roadhouse and we've gone to Longhorn, we've had multiple people come up, and like I said, it's an awesome thing to just see you guys and meet you guys in person and actually just see who's listening to the show and hear your guys' thoughts on it. So we truly from the bottom of our hearts, we do appreciate the hell out of you guys, and we do love you, and we're grateful that you allowed us the opportunity to have this podcast and do it every week.
Yeah,
because we love it.
I want to give a special shout out to a good friend of the show. Our friend Jay, who's from Kansas, has not only hooked us up with great snacks, but also many wonderful bottles of bourbon, and just a great guy. And I wanted to just give him a shout out and say we appreciate it. He sent this bottle of Still Austin. And Still Austin is one of those companies that has kind of broke the mold for where you can go to get a good bottle of bourbon, because they're out of Texas. And traditionally, everybody thought that good bourbon or good whiskey had to come from Tennessee, but it didn't. It doesn't. They've been doing it down there, and they do a great job. And so, just thanks to Jay. And I'm going to enjoy this bottle, but I think I might enjoy it off the air today. And we'll be back here next year.
Yeah.
And
I
hope you all have a great holiday and a great New Year's. We might get one out before New Year's, but we got a lot going on, and hogs are about ready to go. So I don't know what the schedule's going to be, but if not before New Year's, right after New Year's, there'll be a fresh episode. And look forward to spending the new year with you. And I hope that you all have a productive new year, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities, and hopefully we can share them all together.
Yeah. So that's going to wrap it up today, guys. We really appreciate you guys tuning into the show. If you got any value, if you laughed, if you related to us on something, all that we ask is please share the show, leave a review on Spotify or Apple. We'll see you guys back here next week for another episode.